Hello and welcome to a quick video where we're going to go over everything that you need to know before you get started using Google Meet. To get here, you can just go to meet.google.com or do a Google search for Google Meet. First off, on the Google Meet homepage, there is really only one menu here, and it makes it really easy to get started. There's a plus button right up here to let you join or start a meeting. And then up under that, there's this list of any meetings that have been created that are scheduled for you already through your Google Calendar. So it's really easy to see those, and you can click on one of those to get started if you've already been invited, and you can join that from this front page. As with any video tutorial, remember that you can always pause the video to take a second and complete one of the steps that I've just done on my screen, and then you can come back to the video here and continue to play for the next step. That'll keep you from feeling a little overwhelmed. So let's get started with creating our own first session. And we'll do that by clicking this plus button. And it's going to ask us to name our session. And click continue. And that's going to bring us here to this preview screen where you'll see your webcam there, and it'll give you the opportunity to make sure that your webcam is set up the correct way and also that your microphone is connected. The very first time that you do this, you'll have a menu that pops up that is going to ask you to allow permission to your webcam and microphone. You always want to make sure that you do give permission, otherwise it won't work. In your preview panel here, you should be able to see yourself. Then you'll have these three dots down here that will wiggle if the microphone is picking up your voice. You'll also have these two buttons right down here in the middle that allow you to mute your microphone or your camera. You'll always have the opportunity to turn this back on or back off once you join the meeting. It's just letting you say how you want to enter the meeting. If you want to enter with your camera off or your microphone off, you can just toggle these buttons before you click the join button that's over here. These are pretty useful if you're in a room that may be a bit noisy or you have some guests that you may not want to share, people who are there with you physically, you may not want to share their images or whatever they may be saying at the time when you join the session. So that just gives you a little bit of time to have some privacy to yourself even though you may be joining the meeting. Down here you've got your options menu, and that'll give you some quick buttons like switching your camera if you have multiple cameras plugged into your computer. You can turn on captions if you'd like a visual transcript of what is said during the meeting, though this isn't always 100% accurate. And then also you'll have your link to your settings menu. These advanced settings will let you adjust if you've got multiple microphones plugged into your computer. You can switch from those here, as well if you've got different systems set up for speakers, like the built-in audio for your laptop or a headset plugged into the computer. That'll let you decide which ones you want to use here, and then you can click this button to send out a test sound. Same thing up here at the top, you've got a video tab where you can switch between the different cameras. You can also set the maximum definition for the camera feed there. If you've got great internet, you can set that to high definition. If your internet's a little spotty, you want to leave that alone with the standard definition. Once you're ready to join your session, you've got these two buttons here. This first one here that says join now, that's the one that I recommend that you use for the most part. It will give you the opportunity to join with your microphone and your webcam, and then you will also have the opportunity to present your computer screen during the meeting whenever you're ready. If you just click the present button, you join the meeting without your webcam, but it just lets you see the computer screen, but it doesn't let you toggle back and forth for some weird reason. If your computer does not have a webcam or microphone built into it, you can join the meeting with your phone by clicking this button down here, and it gives you two options. You can either enter your phone number and have the system call you, or you'll answer the phone and press 1 and then it'll connect you to the meeting, or you can click dial in and it'll give you a phone number that you can call from your device to call into the meeting. Either one works. We're going to click join now. So notice once we do that, it gives us this add others menu that pops up here. The class today is the meeting nickname, so other people who are in the district can come to meet.google.com and they'll have the option to enter this meeting nickname and they can join in along. Or what will work for most of you, for your students, is this right here. This is the meeting link. or the dial-in number. If you click copy the joining info, you can take that and go to your Google Classroom, Schoology, or email, whichever it is that you're going to use to share that information out with your students, and you'll paste it there. And that'll give your students that link that they can click on, and it'll invite them into this meeting. You can also click add people down here and directly add in people from your directory or contact list. Now that I've clicked X on that, if I needed to get back to that at any time, all I have to do is click down here in the bottom left hand corner, and then it'll pop that right back up. Now that I'm in the meeting, I have these 3 buttons that are down here at the bottom to mute my microphone or to mute my camera. If something comes up and I don't want to leave the meeting, but I need a little bit of privacy for a second, I can do that. The Hangout button that's down here that looks like a red phone, that exits the meeting, and you will the meeting will end if you are the host, and everyone else will be removed. Though if you are a guest, you'll just leave the meeting. Here's the turn on captions button from earlier, same thing. Whoever is speaking, it will do its best to transcribe at the bottom of the screen what people are saying. It's not always super accurate, just depends on how clearly you speak. I tend to mumble a little bit, I know, so sometimes it gets it wrong. Great. Next to that, we have the Present Now button. If you click on that, it's going to ask you if you want to present your entire screen or just a window. It just depends on how focused you want to be with it. It's usually pretty easy just to click your entire screen. And then you can choose from the windows that you currently have open on your device. Say I want to click this one, I'll click on it, it'll highlight it, and the share button will turn blue down here. And then once that happens, you'll get a little notification down here that says you are presenting to everyone. It will say you are presenting your screen up here. I can click here to stop presenting my screen, and I can also click down here to stop sharing. I can hide those messages. So now anyone else who is attending the meeting is going to see whatever else is on my computer as I move through the different tabs I have open, or different websites or articles that I wanted to show off. I'm going to click Stop Presenting. Then you have these 3 dots over here in the far bottom right corner. First, I have the option here to record meeting. So that's going to record the full interaction of the meeting, anything that pops up on the screen. And then when you're done with the meeting, it's going to save it to your Google Drive so that you can access it later and share it with anybody else who may have missed the meeting, or even publish it to YouTube if you wanted to save it for later. You can change your screen layout for how participants are going to view on your screen. Automatically, Google Meet is going to highlight whoever is speaking, so that's going to be the person that you see on the screen. You can turn that off though and switch to one of these other options here. Personally, I prefer a grid view that has all of the participants in the meeting on your screen all at one time, sort of like a Brady Bunch style grid. This doesn't come installed with Google Meet by default. You have to add it yourself, and for that all you have to do is you type in to Google search for Google Meet Grid View Extension, and it should be the first thing that comes up here. And all we have to do once we're here is you'll have a button that says install to Google Chrome, and that way your Google Meet sessions will look like this here. This has already been unlocked and approved for the Baldwin County School District. So if you do add that, you'll have this icon up here in the top right hand corner, and you can check these boxes or uncheck them as you need. This next button that's over here is going to pull up your list of current participants in the meeting, so you can see everyone all at once over here if you wanted to click on them and see them, or you can even pin certain viewers. So if there's a particular student that I wanted to pay extra attention to, I can pin them so that I can always see them. But again, if you're using that grid view, you'll be able to see everybody all the time anyway. And then there's an add button if you wanted to add new members to the meeting without going back to that other screen. You also have your meeting chat is right here. If you click on that, it pulls up a chat window where you can say, You can type messages throughout the chat, or if someone joins the chat and doesn't have access to a microphone, they can use the chat feature here. But what also is really great, if I'm presenting to you and I'm talking about a particular website and I want you to go to that website and view it along with me, I can grab the URL to that website and come back here and paste it in and click send, and then now everybody has a quick link to get to something you're trying to show off. And then all I have to do to leave this menu is I'm going to click back over here on my face, and that will close. And then there's two options again. A couple things I want to point out before we move on. Normally, Google Meet is only designed to be used for Google for Education users. So standard Google account or non-Google account users won't necessarily be able to access Google Meet unless you give them express permission to. So again, that's where down here in the bottom left, where you have these join codes here. If they're not part of the Baldwin County School District or a particular school district that uses Google, they will not be able to join the meeting unless they have one of these codes. And even then, if they're not logged into their Google account, they always have to, if they click on that link, they'll have to request permission each individual person. So if you are the host, you'll have a little menu that pops up on your screen that says, so-and-so is requesting to join your session, and you'll have to allow them access before they can come in and be a part of the meeting. While I'm here, I'm going to make a quick note of this tab here that says Attachments. If you click on that, it says Google Calendar Attachments will show up here. So that's the next thing that we're going to do, is we're going to move over to Google's Calendar, and I'm going to show you how you can set up a Google Hangouts Meet session for the future. Here I am at my Google Calendar. I've turned off all of my calendars for privacy's sake. If I want to schedule a Google Meet session for the future, I'm going to click on the Create button, just like I'm creating any regular Google Calendar event. And then I usually like to go ahead and skip straight to the More Options button down here, just so that I can fill out everything that I need to all at once, instead of doing some of the work here, clicking Save, and then going back and doing more of the work later. So, More Options. And like I said, that's going to give me the full calendar event creation screen that you see here. So I'm going to start by creating the title. Let's call this next week's meeting. And then I'm going to set the date and time for the meeting. This is going to be April the 14th. We're going to start at noon, and that meeting is going to last for about an hour. The next thing I can do, if I move down here, it says Add Location. This is going to be an online web meeting, so I'm just going to say online. You can leave this totally blank if you want to. I just like to make sure that my guests know that it's going to be an online meeting. And then what's very important right here is this next icon that looks like a camera, and it says Add Conferencing. If I click on that, I should see one option here for Hangouts Meet. And I'll click that, and it's going to add this link here to join Hangouts Meet. Now there are some extra options down here. If you click on this expand menu, it's going to give you the link or meeting ID to that meet session that we've got coming up. It's going to go ahead and show you the phone number that people can use to call into that session. But again, we're saying that it's not going to be active until April the 14th at noon. So no one's going to be there. These links are active. They will work, but no one will be in the meeting until this time. You also have this button down here to add a live stream. So if for whatever reason you wanted people to be able to view your meeting or session without the ability to participate, to speak, or to share their screens, you can click this button here, and that will generate a new link. And if you distribute that link to the public or to parents or whoever, they can join your meeting session and view the conversation without participating in the conversation. And then if you add that by mistake, you can click Remove Live Stream and it will go away. You can click here to add a notification if you want to be alerted a couple of minutes, hours, days, or weeks before the meeting. Just depends on how many notifications you need. You can add as many of those as you want to. And then you can click here to change the calendar. If you're like me and you've got a bunch of different calendars and they're all shared with different people, you want to make sure that it's shared with the right group of people. Rule of thumb is, if it's just for you, you can click on your name, that'll be at the top, and it will only show just to you. Then down here we have our description menu, where we can talk a little bit about the contents of the meeting, what we're going to discuss, things like that. And then we have the ability as well to enter attachments here. So if I click on that button, I can upload a meeting agenda, I can upload meeting resources, pretty much anything that I might want to discuss during the course of the meeting. If I click select, it'll add that as an attachment there to the description. People will be able to see that in their email that they get from this invitation. They'll be able to see it in their Google Calendar event, and also they'll be able to see it during the meeting in that attachments window panel that I mentioned a few minutes ago. Lastly, the most important thing is I want to add my guests. Who are the people that I want to join this meeting with? If I click up here under the guest tab to add guests, it'll pull up the Baldwin County School District directory, and you can type in any of your staff or coworkers, or I believe even of your students' names, and you can go ahead and add them to this meeting so they'll all have it in their calendar. Once I've added everybody I want to participate, I can check the permission settings here. If I leave this empty, then the people that I've invited to the session won't be able to modify any of the event details. That includes this information that's over here that we worked on. That's usually the best bet, is to leave this empty. If one of your attendees decides that they want to invite another participant and you want to allow them that possibility, you can leave this checked and they can invite more people. And this last one here, if it's checked, these people will be able to see that each other have been invited to this event. If you uncheck it, they won't know who else is attending the event. Once you're satisfied with all of this, all this setup, we click Save, and it's going to ask you if you want to send your invitations out through Gmail. Usually you want to, so that other people are aware that you've invited them to a calendar meeting. Once I save the event, it'll pop up here in my Google Calendar for that day as a regular event. I can click on it to get the information that I entered. There's a quick button here to join the Hangout Meet session. So on April the 14th at noon, once I'm ready to join, I go to my Google Calendar, find the event, click on it, and then I can get straight there by clicking on the Join Hangouts Meet link that's right there. And we are back at our preview screen where we can make sure our camera is set up the correct way before we click that Join Now button. Also, on April the 14th at around noon, the meeting that we've scheduled for that time will appear in your scheduled meeting list here, just for quick access. So you've got multiple ways to get back in that meeting. And that is pretty much it. That should cover just about everything that you need to know about using Google Meet to get started working with students, parents, or other staff members to communicate during this distant learning period.